A home could be a home. It could be four walls. It could be decor. It could be art. It could be furniture. And it could still not be a home.
Yep.
A home is a feeling. Home is a feeling. And that's what I was lacking. I had a home, a beautiful home. It had memories of my kids, but it didn't have the feeling. So I had to create a home within my home. And that home was created through real, focused intention.
All right. Well, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. New season 6 of Living Room Wisdom, and it's your first time joining us.
Yeah,
so that's
it's
exciting.
my first time. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming, my love.
Oh, for sure.
So for those of the people who are watching who don't already know who you are, this is Jen Dubois. That is correct, yes. Dubois. That's how I say it, but I'm a bit dramatic.
Well, I love it. That's exactly how you say it.
And just to be a little more formal, you are a virtual home organizer, interior stylist, coach, and speaker, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how you bring abundance to people's environments, their home, offices, etc.
Well, so I love the word abundance. It's such a juicy word that I absolutely love. So what I do, I help people realize their dream spaces, right? You always hear people say, oh, I want a home of my dreams, but I take it on a different level. So I help people really uncover what it is they want, and through the lens of wellness, because I believe wellness, the framework of wellness, to me is a standard to strive towards achieving balance in life. So I help them uncover what they want in life. I help them kind of step back a little bit and kind of challenge themselves by asking, why don't you have it? Right? And then I use that information as a decision filter. I remove everything that doesn't support their desires. We add things that do, and we work towards habits, mindsets, systems, and rituals to help them maintain it. So that's how I help them bring abundance in their life.
I love it, and I'm laughing because it's my first time hearing you explain it in that way. And there's so much overlap and similarity with our Anatomy of Abundance framework.
Wow.
Specifically, you said, what is it that you want?
Yeah.
And I remove all of the things that are not supporting that. That's what you said, right? And so that's so interesting because I don't think I've ever heard someone who's technically like a designer, a space designer, approach it from that lens. So tell me, how did you come to that system? And if I'm not mistaken, is that your dream system?
That is my dream approach.
Tell us a little bit about your dream system.
Yeah, so my dream approach is a methodology that kind of encompasses coaching. It involves professional organizing, editing, and it involves home styling, but through the lens of wellness. It was a long journey. My background, I am a registered nurse. Years ago, I would say maybe 6 or so years ago, I started to get an itch. I was working in the hospital and working overnight shifts, 12-hour shifts overnight. And what I started to notice is that my colleagues were coming into work already drained. And I was like, I understand being drained at the end of your shift because nursing is a challenging career, especially when you're working the overnight shifts. But coming in drained at the top of your shift told me that there's something that's not happening when you're away from work that is necessary for restoration. So I started to look at ways to support my colleagues to feel restored so that they can come to work refreshed. Initially, I thought my angle would be self-care. I was like, yeah, maybe let's start a self-care business. And I started to explore all the ways people practice self-care. And I thought about candles and bubble baths, and I was like, that's superficial. You need something that's, that sustains. And it took a while through self-discovery and questioning and listening, and I landed on professional organizing. Having an organized and beautiful home is a way that I practice self-care, and I wanted to share that with others. So that was how my approach started. It has since evolved, and I guess we can talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, and I find it interesting. The first question that came to me intuitively is, were you kind of like OCD and a bit anal before you decided to do the organizing?
Yeah, so the funny thing being that I am a registered nurse, I'm very cautious with certain clinical terms because I know it comes at the tail end of a medical analysis and then a diagnosis. So The funny thing about me is I am a person that can feel gaps. I sense systems and gaps and flow. I wouldn't call myself necessarily OCD. I just feel the gap in situations, right?
Yeah.
And it has got me into where I had experience in project management, experience in planning, coordinating, facilitating, gathering, right? All towards a system.
Yeah.
A system of living, a system of flow, a system of experiencing. So that's what I call it. I feel like for me, it's flow. So flow is what I'm after, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's kind of like what's on the other side of the organizing is the flow.
Yeah.
So again, there's a parallel there because I'm a total free spirit.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people, a lot of creatives that are free spirits.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to ground them.
Yes.
Right? So I know for myself personally, I feel the most free when the systems and the structures and the grounding is in place. So my home is very important. Right?
Yeah.
My home is very important
Yeah.
in the same way that you're saying.
Yeah.
But then there's some people who are very creative and very free spirits who are not grounding, and this might actually be the piece that they're missing.
Yeah.
And so with that said, I actually had a question for you. So in your experience, how does your physical space reflect their current identity and their outer world? Like, how does that reflect?
There is a direct correlation with your physical space and your internal space. I feel like if you are internally scattered and disconnected, it's going to manifest in your space. I feel, and then the opposite is also true. So I feel like energy flows both ways. The energy within flows to your space and it shows in your space. The energy in your space flows within and it can also disrupt your internal space. So that's how I see it. I don't necessarily see that there is a consistent pattern with a person who is internally organized is also externally organized. What I always see is a disconnect and a mismarriage.
Yeah.
To where one striving, kind of like osmosis or homeostasis.
Yeah.
One striving to regulate and balance the other. I don't know if that's making sense, but that's what I see in most of my clients. And also, too, I feel like the governing, I guess, practice that I have is professional organizing. Lots of professional organizers exist. I attract the clients that want a more free spirit flow approach to organizing. So maybe that's the pattern that I'm seeing. I'm seeing people that are creative.
Yes.
That don't have a space that mirrors the creativity that they feel inside. Or I see people that believe a creative space should be cluttered because it's a visual, in their eyes, it's a visual representation of creativity, and things that have order kind of would stifle them. So I see people that have a creative space, but it's actually causing internal chaos.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep. Like, I feel like we needed a third person here, like a psychologist, to like break that down for us. That's, I could see that. I could see that. I also, tell me if you've seen this. So I've seen people who are very put together and like polished in the world, but then you go into their space and you're like, whoa, what's happening? So that seems like an example of the internal. Interesting. So then how do you work with those type of people? Because obviously you're not sitting having a therapy session with them. So what's that look like? How do you gracefully say, yo, we need to get this shit together?
So this is so fun. So when I first started my professional organizing business, I went straight to the stuff. I figured, okay, we're going to take away the things that you don't like, use or love, because that's the standard, that's the script. Take away the things that you don't like, use and love. We're going to bring in organization, and here you have it. But through working with my clients, I realized that there was much more. So I then pursued a certification as a transformational life coach to where I can help them uncover what it is they want, right? And that person who appears to be put together, we break it down a little bit. We go a little deeper. I am not a therapist, and I don't serve my professional organizing clients through my nursing practice. I serve them as their coach, but I create the space and the mirror for them to kind of then first, let's identify, don't touch the space yet.
Yeah.
Let's sit down and identify the internal disorder. What's not working internally? What is it? First of all, what is it you want? I always start with the want. What it is that you want? Let's dream. Let's dream big. And then they get excited and they're flowing and they're talking. And then I'm like, so why don't you have it?
Yeah.
And then that's like the record scratch. And that's when they get in and they start to talk about, and they kind of touch. It takes layers.
Yes.
But they start to touch the truth of why it is that they don't have what they don't have. And that's what we work with. So.
Can you give me an example of one of your clients?
Yeah. So a recent client that I had, very established. She's an artist, very, very established, very stylish. Could articulate the feelings that she wanted in her space clearly. Everybody, that's standard. Usually people can say, I want to feel, and I want to feel. On the outside, you could see that this person wants to appear in society as a person who is creative and put together. But internally, they weren't. So she was like, yeah, so here's what I need. She knew what she needed.
Okay.
I needed storage. I need decluttering. I needed organizing. And she had a whole list. And I was like, but before we do that, what it is that you truly desire. And what I got from her is that she didn't have a relationship with her mom to where she was taught how to manage a home. And she wanted to make sure that she was able to manage her home and demonstrate that to her daughter. So that's what we work with, right? We can work with the bins and all the things, but if we didn't address the why and the core, we're not really doing anything, and it cannot sustain. So we uncovered, what she really wanted. It wasn't the perfect presentation of this creative person. She wanted the presentation of a mom who knew how to manage a home.
Wow.
So it layers, and it's deep, and it's not always the obvious.
Yeah.
And it's never about the things.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I just find I'm like, my mind is a little scrambled because I'm like, I never thought that this type of conversation would be coming up in a organizing design conversation.
Yeah.
And it's very much, and I didn't know this when I invited you on, but it's very much, of course, right? Spirit always knows. But it's very, very much in line with my messaging in the sense of like alignment, but also in the sense of like being really, really clear about who you are and what you're not.
Yeah.
Because there are so many societal expectations imposed on us. And so I can only imagine that in her mind, motherhood and the way her home looked and flowed and what she modeled for her child, there was a certain way that needed to be done.
The shoulds and coulds and woulds.
The shoulds and the coulds and the woulds.
Yeah.
And so I would be interested to find out at the end of that work with that client, did we do the pretty picture of what she thought she wanted it to look like, or did she end up with something else that was like more in alignment with her true creative self and that made her feel alive and free?
Yeah. So what we ended up with, so the result is usually pretty at the end.
Yeah, of course.
Right? But it's layered. It's the surface that you see, but it's the systems, the habits, and the rituals that she now has with her daughter.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So the ritual, it could be, there's this playtime where we have the pretty bins where we're going to put your toys away. And when we're finished, we're going to have mommy and daughter time on the floor. So it's the ritual surrounding the habit.
Nice.
That is where the mothering is happening, right?
Wow. So it's almost like you dissected. You dissected like the organizing and the motherhood piece and just found this way to integrate it.
Yeah. Because if you don't, then it's always just put the thing in the bin.
Yes.
It's the ritual surrounding.
Which also, even you saying that, I feel that in my body.
Yeah.
Like as the mother, I can feel it in my body. And as the child, I can feel it in my body.
Yeah.
Put the thing in the bin.
Yeah.
Feels chaotic. It feels restrictive in my body when I say that. And then as the person receiving it, right? As the person receiving it, the child, it would also be restrictive and kind of, so it's interesting because you also seem to be working on energetic levels, spiritual levels, the physical with the actual organizing.
Yep.
And then there's a mental component to what you're doing as well. I find that freaking so fascinating and exciting. And I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
See, I had no clue, right? I only knew the surface level of what it is that you were working on. And I thought that was beautiful. Yeah. So with that said, who are your, I guess, target market, we say in the business, right? Who's your target market? ICA. Who are the women that you serve? But, I mean, what do they look like typically? Like, how do they find you? Because you are very much out of the box when it comes to organizing and designing.
So it's so funny. So her name is Ready Rita.
Who's that?
My ICA. I gave her a name.
That's her name.
I gave her a name. So the thing is, Patrina, so I am on the vision and the business that I am articulating today is the business that I am now developing. Yeah. It's not the business that I've had all these years. Okay. Right?
Yeah, I know I've seen a bit of a shift and different iterations.
Yeah. So throughout the years, it was the professional organizing and then I layered in styling. But now I am now serving this new person. Okay. This person who is in a season of transition, life transition. It could be merging families, starting a new family, divorce, new job, whatever, all the life transitions that exist. You know, now inviting her parents to come live with her. So there is a transition
that's happening. Aging parents.
Aging parents, right?
Yes.
So there is some transition that's happening with this person. So she's seeking. So she's in this seeking behavior to where she's like, there's this life that I want. All these things that are happening. My home is cluttered. It's not inspiring. It's not beautiful. I just feel I need something.
Yes.
So she's out, she's looking, she's searching, she's looking for the thing that she needs. And I hope she lands on me. Yeah. Because what I will give her, I can't fix the parenting. I can't fix how you're going to integrate your parents into your home energetically. But what I could do is create this tool, your home, that'll carry you through as you're figuring it all out. Does it make sense?
So trust me, it makes sense. It makes so much sense. My kids used to think I was crazy because I would reorganize things and change things up in my house often. And it's because I've always moved in spirit, like I feel, you know, and I wouldn't consider myself like an empath per se. I don't know that I'm that hypersensitive. But I just have a knowing, and you have it. You have a knowing. You feel things, like you said. You see the gaps. And I'm a similar person. And so when things feel out of alignment for me, something has to shift. Whether it's a mental shift, an emotional shift, a physical shift in my environment. One of the things that's always helped me, and I'd love to get your perspective on this. One of the things that keep me grounded is sight, smell. All of these things, right? All of the senses. So I always have to have different colors, different textures. I'm incense and Palo Santo all day long, right? It grounds me. It makes me feel safe, makes me feel held. And so I'd be interested to know how often these type of things come up in your work with your clients.
So the ultimate goal is to establish your home as a wellness tool, right? And wellness is subjective, whatever it is for you. So in terms of, I guess I want to make sure that I'm clear with your question. You're saying how often the connection to things that stimulate the senses.
Well, and just how often that comes up for you, or if it's a tool that you use with your clients.
It's a part of ritual. So I can tell you how I use it personally, right? So I like to compartmentalize my world because I'm doing so much. One of the things I like to train my brain to do is to know when work is done. Because the way my home is set up, I have my office is in my living space and I walk by it all the time. So what I do is I have a ritual for closing my work self.
Oh, I like that.
Right? So I close my work self by resetting the space, putting things back where they go. And for me, things have to be beautiful. things have to be textured.
Yes.
Because it's easier for me to maintain a thing if it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So there's a sight. It's easy for me to maintain a thing if it feels nice. There's the touch, right? I like to play music. So part of my closing down, I turn on my music, right? There's the sound. And I put my things away, and then when I'm finished, I light a candle. So there's the sound, the sight, the smell, right? So I use the senses to, like I was saying when I was talking to you about the example with the mom, right? Professional organizing is putting the thing in a bin. Systems, those are the standard.
Right.
My experience gives you the experience around the system, right? So the experience around the system is what tantalizes the senses.
Yes.
Right? So for that mom, right? Clearing the visual, the clear space on the floor, that's the visual. Sitting and being with your daughter, that's the feeling, the touch, right? So I guess the ritual surrounding this hard system is where I touch the senses. I don't know if I...
Yeah, you are. It's thinking in terms of kind of transformational coaching and maybe a little neurolinguistics, and who knows. I've like done so many different certifications that I can't really remember what this is rooted in. Yeah. But the idea of a trigger also, right? So knowing that when this happens, it's grounding in this particular emotion or this next action as well. That's part of having a system. And so, there's an integration that you're creating by organizing that space, which literally I've never thought about it in that way. So it's pretty fascinating. Yeah. So I'll be interested then to know for yourself, has there been a time where you were experiencing your own transition, either intentional transition or some sort of a forced transition, that these tools that you teach other people came in really handy? If you could just kind of share that, what that looks like, because I think for somebody listening who's experiencing some sort of transition, again, they may not know what they're seeking. That's the hardest part about transformation work, is that they don't necessarily know what they need. And so if you could share just an example for yourself of when that came in handy, then maybe.
So many times. So the most recent is me ending my 27-year marriage, right?
That part. I was kind of hoping you'd tell that story, but I was like, I'm not going to push her. So how did that pan out? Because I know that was your choice. That was an intentional transition.
Very intentional, very, very, lots of thought behind it. So going back to my home, I've always been an organized person. I've always liked beautiful spaces. I always remember my aunt. She was the influence for my desire for beautiful spaces. As a kid, growing up in the Caribbean, I had my bedroom looked like Pottery Barn. Like I always liked beautiful spaces. So I always had a beautiful home. My home never really had clutter. Clutter would come and go. Clutter is cyclic, right? But what I realized is that there was space for it to be more intentional. So as I was, and this is over a several year period of time, as I made the decision to end my marriage and started to think about all the things that would mean, started to experience all the experiences that come up with two people that are now separating. The arguing and all the things that would come up, I realized that I needed my home to hold me in a different way. I am a homebody, I am an empath, and in a space, it could be beautiful, it could be free of clutter, but it needed to be something else. I wasn't quite sure what it needed to be, but I knew I needed to be something else. And I found myself times like going room to room, trying to feel grounded, trying to feel emotionally safe, trying to feel held. And I didn't have the space for it. I didn't know where to go in my home. And that's what kind of made me feel like, well, this is home. And if it's not feeling like the home you're supporting your clients to have, a place that is grounding, a place that feels safe, then what are you really doing, right? And that's when I started to think, I was like, I have to be more intentional. So one of the first things I did, I created a cozy corner. The corner of my bedroom. Now, this is the same bedroom that I shared with my husband for years. It was now
That's what I was wondering. Did you stay in the same home?
We stayed in the same home. It was an in-home separation.
Okay.
He stayed in a different room, and I stayed in this bedroom. But then the bed was still our bed.
Yes.
Right? So I wanted a space within this room that was just for me, that held the energy of nobody else. Nobody else was in this space but me. So I created a cozy corner. I created a corner in my room where I got a beautiful, big, cozy couch. I put up really nice, a nice wall hanging. I had a plant. And that was my spot where I felt like within this big space, this was my space, right? And it was so interesting. Around the same time, I was talking to a colleague. She was talking to me about wanting to hire me to work with her. And she said, I can't because my husband is just not going to work. And it's so chaotic in my house. It's so chaotic in my house. And through our conversation, I invited her to consider maybe even a drawer. Have the drawer in your nightstand be your space. Make sure that it has only the things that support you. Make sure you add things that support your the feeling that you want to have. So what she created was this little micro spot that was her intention box.
Yeah.
Right? So that, give me a minute. It's, a home could be a home. It could be four walls. It could be decor. It could be art. It could be furniture. And it could still not be a home.
Yep.
A home is a feeling. Home is a feeling. And that's what I was lacking. I had a home, a beautiful home. It had memories of my kids, but it didn't have the feeling. So I had to create a home within my home. And that home was created through real, focused intention.
That's beautiful. Yeah, beautifully said. Because when you were speaking, the thing that I was hearing is that your home was missing soul.
Yeah.
It was missing that connection.
Yeah.
Intimacy, in a sense. And I don't mean in the relationship. I just mean intimacy within the relationship, maybe with yourself or with your home. And I can relate in a big way because after my husband passed, so in that relationship with my husband, all those years, we had created externally all of the things I thought I ever wanted, right? So from the outside looking in, like things are great.
Yeah.
And then the inside, it was great when he was alive.
Yeah.
But then when he passed, the soul of that season died with him. And so even though I was sitting in a beautiful 6,000 square foot home with beautiful furniture and like it's the place that everybody wants to come to and play pool and have parties and do all the things, it just didn't feel like home anymore.
No, because it lost the soul.
My family was in Las Vegas. My friends were in Las Vegas. That's where I was at the time. But there was something inside me similar to you that was yearning for something different, like a new alignment to the new season. And so I ended up packing up, selling that house, selling everything. That's how I ended up here in San Diego. And so I'd be interested because, of course, everybody on the outside thinks you're crazy when you do big things like that. I'd be interested to see or to hear how you navigated the external criticism, the external questioning, the what are you, nuts? He's such a good man. Because I know you married a good man as well.
Of course.
Right? And so a good man doesn't make him your man, right? And so I'd love to hear how you handled that.
So I love that you brought up alignment because that's essentially what it was. We were no longer aligned in marriage. And because the home was an extension of our marriage, I no longer felt aligned or grounded within my home. So yes, he was a great man. Is a great man. Still, he a pillar in the community. We had basketball team. Matter of fact, several people said, no, you are the couple that we're striving to be like.
Exactly.
You cannot.
We used to hear, but you guys are like the Wheel and Jada. Like, okay, no pressure.
We were the Dubois. They called us the Dubois.
The Dubois.
And they were like,
that sounds so bougie already.
Right?
The Dubois.
They're like, you guys, what? And then they were like, why? And I'm like, misaligned. There was no like, this is the thing.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not a person that explains.
Yes.
Like, I just tell you and then I move on. So for the questions that came up, I just would say, it was misalignment. And so there was no really explaining. I didn't really explain. I just told them, it was just misalignment, and this is just how it's going to be going forward.
You put yourself first.
Yeah, I really did not. I did, of course, explain to the kids as much as they needed to know. Explain to my mom, but everybody else who looked to us as being the pillar and the standard for a relationship, and I don't want to sound insensitive, but it's on them.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't.
Not your responsibility.
I didn't invite them to view us that way, and I cannot, because here's the thing. I used to be concerned about people's opinions. I used to burn myself to satisfy people. And that was my first pivotal, critical story that landed me in bed for 3 days and 6 months of disability.
Wowza.
So I don't do that anymore. I feel confident in my decisions, and I acknowledge how my decisions may affect or impact you. But that's as much as I do. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how we get to have these experiences that bring us back to ourselves when we get out of alignment? Yeah. It's really wild. Yeah. And I know that I've had many experiences that have invited me into realignment.
Yes. Or forced.
Well, invited.
I love the way you said invited.
Feels so much better. And what I love though about women of age, because we are of age these days, is that I think there comes a point where you no longer have to have the experience to be invited into alignment, where as soon as that little niggle starts to happen, you're like choosing it. Yeah. Kind of like you did. Yeah. Right? And sometimes it might take longer than other times. Yeah. But I think that's the important point that we should make here. Yeah. And we have a couple of examples of people who have done that over and over again. Yeah. So with that said, as we're bringing this episode to a close, I would love for you to share anything about your business. Sure. How you serve. I keep saying women because I serve women, but I'm assuming it is women. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to make an assumption. Yeah. But how you're serving your women, and also how they can connect with you. Sure. If they want to learn more. Sure. So I serve my clients through my business, Home with Jen D. Yes. Through my methodology, which is called the Intentional Home Dream Approach. And we work virtually to help you, like I said earlier, to uncover what it is you want. And not what it is you want as it relates to your home, what it is you want holistically, and how can we use your home as a tool to support that. You can find me homewithjend.com, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn, Jennifer Dubois Home. Okay. So I love this. And I have I don't know if it's appropriate, but I do have a freebie that I offer people that gives you an introduction to my methodology. It helps you align one space in your home. Okay. And it's available if you go to my website, homewithjend.com. Okay. We'll definitely put that in the show notes as well to make it easier for them to access. Yeah. And, my head is swirling and spinning because I feel like we unlocked a deeper layer of what it is that you're doing and your mission. And I just see so much overlap that I'm excited for kind of what's next. Yeah. We're also going to be putting out top secret, breaking news. a private podcast.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so I'm thinking I'd love to maybe have you on the private podcast as well for those who opt in for that.
Yeah.
To just go a little bit deeper, learn more, and transform some lives
Absolutely.
together.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. That would be wonderful. It was so good to be here. So good talking with you.
Thank you. This was fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
And for those of you who joined us here in the living room, I thank you for being here and look forward to seeing you next week in Living Room Wisdom.
Bye.